Crash landing at Comic Con. Princess Valara of the Zephyrian Dominion had always been the disappointment of the royal family. While her sisters mastered the ancient art of ceremonial silence, and her brothers perfected their intimidating glares, Valara spent her time intercepting Earth broadcasts through illegal quantum tunnels. She could quote entire episodes of Friends in Galactic Standard, and had developed an unhealthy obsession with something called pizza. "Your Highness," her advisor Grimthic wheezed through his translator device, "the High Council expects your presence at the matrimonial selection ceremony." In precisely 73 Earth hours, Valara groaned, slumping in her crystalline throne. "Can't I just marry someone who makes me laugh? Is that too much to ask? Laughter is forbidden in royal unions. Princess, you know this." That's when Valara made the decision that would change everything. She borrowed her father's personal scout ship for what she told everyone was a cultural reconnaissance mission. In reality, she was planning to attend something called a comic convention in a place called New Jersey, where humans apparently celebrated fictional alien princesses. The irony wasn't lost on her. Unfortunately, Zephyrian scout ships weren't. Designed for atmospheric entry by amateur pilots, Valara's vessel screamed through Earth's sky like a metallic comet, before crash landing directly into the middle of the Garden State Comic Convention's main exhibition hall. The ship's emergency systems kicked in, projecting a holographic disguise around the wreckage that made it look like an elaborate Star Wars display. Steam hissed dramatically as the cockpit opened, and Princess Valara stepped out in her genuine alien battle armor, complete with bioluminescent details, and a cape that seemed to move with its own mind. "Holy guacamole," breathed a human male, standing nearby, balancing a stack of pizza boxes that had somehow survived the chaos. "That's the most incredible sci-fi princess costume I've ever seen. Did you make those leads yourself?" Valara blinked her large, violet eyes at him. He was tall and lanky, with unruly brown hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. His name tag read high, "I'm Danny, Cosmic Slice Pizza Delivery," and he was staring at her with genuine admiration rather than the usual royal terror. She inspired back home. Yes, she said carefully, her universal translator working overtime. "I made this costume myself. Dude, you're totally going to win the contest." Danny grinned, gesturing to the judging panel that was now approaching with clipboards and cameras. "I mean, you literally have a spaceship prop and everything." Before Valara could explain that the prop was actually worth more than most Earth nations' GDP, a security drone from her ship apparently programmed to protect the royal bloodline at all costs emerged from the wreckage and began scanning the crowd with red targeting lasers. "Threat assessment initiated," it announced in Mechanical Zephyrian. "Unauthorized life forms detected." The crowd cheered, thinking it was part of the show. "Princess, duck," Danny yelled, recognizing danger when he saw it. Even if he didn't understand the alien language, Valara instinctively obeyed, and Danny tackled her behind his pizza delivery cart just as the drone's warning blast vaporized a nearby Darth Vader cutout. The explosion sent pizza slices flying like delicious shrapnel, and in the chaos that followed, smoke, sprinklers, people cheering for the amazing special effects. Danny and Valara found themselves pressed together behind overturned convention tables. "Are you okay?" he asked, his face inches from hers, genuine concern replacing his earlier excitement. Looking into his worried brown eyes, Valara felt something she'd never experienced in all her royal training, her heart doing something. "Humans, apparently called skipping a beat, I think," she said softly. "I'm better than okay." And that's when someone's phone camera captured them kissing amid the chaos, pizza sauce in her hair and stage smoke swirling around them like something out of a romantic movie. Within hours, #Pizza Princess was trending worldwide. Love in the time of laundromats. There weeks later, Princess Valara was living in Danny's cramped studio apartment above the Cosmic Slice Pizzeria, and she'd never been happier. Her crashed ship sat disguised in the convention center's storage facility while she learned the art of being human, or at least pretending to be one. "Okay, so you put the quarters in here," Danny explained for the third time, standing beside the apartment building's ancient washing machine. "Then you select the cycle, add detergent, and submit to my royal command," Valara declared. Pressing her palm against the machine's control panel, blue energy crackled from her fingertips, and the washer began spinning violently, soapsuds erupting like a volcanic explosion. "Vel, we've talked about this," Danny said patiently, pulling her away from the sudsy disaster. "Earth machines don't respond to bioelectric commands. They're not sentient. How do you people live like this?" she groaned, unconsciously mimicking a phrase she'd learned from a show called Seinfeld. "Your technology is so primitive." "No offense. None taken," Danny laughed, grabbing towels to clean up the mess. "But you're getting better at the slang. Yesterday you told Mrs. Patterson from 3B to talk to the hand when she complained about our late-night alien weapon target practice. I thought humans appreciated directness, not that much directness," as they cleaned up together. Valara marveled at how different this was from palace life. At home, servants would have materialized to handle any mess while she stood regally in the background. Here, she and Danny worked side by side, laughing when they slipped on soapsuds and racing to catch escaped bubbles. "Tell me about your family," Danny said suddenly, wringing out a towel. They'd been dancing around the subject for weeks, with Valara claiming to be from a very traditional family in a very remote location. Valara's stomach clenched. "There, complicated. My father is very powerful, and he has specific expectations about my future. He wouldn't approve of you, because I deliver pizza for a living, because you're—" She paused, searching for the right words. "Because you make me laugh, because you let me be myself, because when you look at me, you don't see a title or a duty or a political alliance. You just see me." Danny set down his towel and pulled her close, not caring that they were both covered in soap bubbles. "Well, I happen to think you is pretty amazing, even if you do try to intimidate household appliances." They were interrupted by a commotion outside, car alarms blaring and dogs howling in harmony. Through the window, they could see strange lights flickering in the night sky, moving in patterns too precise to be aircraft. Shooting stars, Danny wondered aloud. Valara's blood ran cold. Those weren't shooting stars. Those were Zephyrian scout formations, running search patterns. Her family had found her. "I need to tell you something," she began, but Danny's phone buzzed with an emergency alert. "Breaking, unexplained lights over New Jersey. Government advises residents to remain indoors." "Well, that's probably nothing," Danny said optimistically. "Want some coffee? I finally taught you how to use the machine without making it explode." Valara nodded weakly, her mind racing. She had maybe hours before royal guards descended on Earth, demanding her return. Hours before Danny learned that his quirky, technologically challenged girlfriend was actually the heir to an interstellar empire. Hours before she'd have to choose between the life she'd always known and the love she'd never expected to find. She watched Danny puttering around the tiny kitchen, humming off-key while he prepared their nightly coffee ritual. He'd taught her to appreciate the bitter earth beverage, just like he'd taught her about sarcasm, pizza toppings, and why humans seem to enjoy making fun of their own governments. "Danny," she said quietly, "yeah, if I told you something crazy, something that might change everything, would you still want me to stay?" He turned to look at her, coffee pot in hand, and smiled with the same warmth that had captivated her 3 weeks ago. "Vel, you literally tried to high-five a blender on our second date. I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever crazy you've got left." If only he knew. The Royal Invasion Zephyrian Royal Guard arrived at dawn, their ships descending from the clouds like metallic angels of doom. They landed in perfect formation round the pizzeria, their hulls shimmering with adaptive camouflage that made them nearly invisible to human eyes. Commander Thane emerged from the lead vessel, his ceremonial armor gleaming and his expression as warm as a frozen asteroid. Behind him marched 12 elite guards, each carrying weapons that could level city blocks. Princess Valara of the Zephyrian Dominion, his voice boomed through a translation amplifier. "By order of the High Council, you will return to face your matrimonial obligations." Upstairs, Danny nearly choked on his coffee. Did someone just announce your full name with a megaphone? Valara closed her eyes, her last hope of keeping her secret evaporating like morning mist. "Danny, I can explain, Princess Valara." He stared at her, pieces clicking into place. You're actually a princess, like a real princess, not just any princess, she said miserably. I'm heir to the Zephyrian Dominion, 47 star systems, 300 billion subjects, and a father who could probably buy and sell your entire planet. Danny sat down heavily on his couch, pizza-stained and threadbare. So when you said your family was traditional, I meant they execute people for looking at royalty wrong, Valara finished. Danny, I never meant for this to happen. I came here to escape an arranged marriage, and then I met you, and everything changed. Before Danny could respond, the building shook as Commander Thane's amplified voice echoed through the walls. Princess, you have 60 seconds to present yourself before we commence planetary negotiations. Planetary negotiations, Danny squeaked, probably involving your world's immediate surrender. Valara said grimly, my people don't negotiate so much as they dictate terms. Through the window, they could see news vans arriving, military helicopters circling, and confused New Jersey residents filming everything with their phones. The governor was already on TV, demanding answers from the president, who was demanding answers from NASA, who was demanding answers from anyone who might know why aliens were demanding a pizza delivery. Guy's girlfriend, I have to go, Valara said, standing and smoothing her disguised Danny's oversized Mets jersey and borrowed jeans. If I don't, they'll level this entire city looking for me. Wait. Danny grabbed her hand. What about us? What about what we have? What we have is 3 weeks of pretending I'm someone I'm not, Valara said, though her voice broke slightly. I'm not just some quirky girl who's bad with technology, Danny. I'm the future ruler of a galactic empire. I have responsibilities due. You love me? He interrupted. The question hung in the air like a challenge to the universe itself. That's not fair, she whispered. Do you love me? He repeated, stepping closer. Danny, because I love you, he said simply. I love that you argue with inanimate objects. I love that you think reality TV is a documentary series. I love that you laugh at my terrible jokes and make even worse ones yourself. I love that you're brave enough to crash land in a room full of strangers and smart enough to pretend it was on purpose. Tears, actual tears. Something princesses of the Zephyrian Dominion were not supposed to produce ran down Valara's cheeks. I love you too, she admitted. But love isn't enough. My people, my duty. 30 seconds. Commander Thane announced. Then let's go down there together, Danny said, pulling on his cosmic slice delivery jacket. Let's face your family together. Danny, you don't understand. They'll see you as a threat, a corruption of royal blood. They might what? He grinned, the same reckless grin that had charmed her 3 weeks ago. Kill me, torture me, turn me into some kind of alien science experiment. Yes, actually, all of those things. Well, Danny said, grabbing her hand and heading for the door. I guess it's a good thing I've got a princess to protect me. As they walked downstairs to face the most powerful military force in the galaxy, Valara realized that Danny's unwavering faith in their love might be the most alien thing about this entire situation. The trial of hearts seen outside Cosmic Slice Pizza looked like a budget sci-fi movie had collided with a news documentary. Commander Thane stood in the center of a circle of Zephyrian guards, their weapons trained on the growing crowd of humans who were filming everything despite police barriers. News helicopters circled overhead like mechanical vultures. Princess Valara, Commander Thane intoned as she and Danny emerged from the building. The High Council has decreed that you have been corrupted by alien influence and must return immediately. For purification, alien influence. Danny stepped forward, somehow managing to look indignant despite facing beings who could vaporize him with a thought. She's the alien here. Silence. Primitive. Thane's weapon hummed with charging energy. You have contaminated royal blood with your inferior genetic material and crude emotional attachments. Hey now, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see. An elderly woman emerged from the crowd, Mrs. Kowalski from the deli next door, wielding nothing more dangerous than a wooden spoon. That boy delivers my Thursday pastrami on rye every week for 3 years, never late, always polite. You want to hurt him, you go through me first. And me, called out Tony from the auto shop. And me, shouted Jenny from the dry cleaners. Within moments, half the neighborhood had formed a protective semicircle around Danny and Valara, armed with everything from baseball bats to kitchen utensils. The Zephyrian guards looked genuinely perplexed there. Training hadn't covered scenarios involving elderly humans wielding spatulas. "This is unexpected," Commander Thane admitted, lowering his weapon slightly. "Princess, surely you see that these creatures cannot possibly understand the complexities of royal duty." "They understand loyalty," Valara said firmly. "They understand standing up for someone they care about, even when it's dangerous. That's more than I can say for most of my father's court." "The High Council anticipated your resistance," Thane replied. "Therefore, they have authorized the ancient trial of devotion. If this human can prove his worthiness through the traditional tests, your union will be considered." "And if he fails?" Valara asked, though she dreaded the answer. "Then Earth becomes a protectorate of the Zephyrian Dominion, and you return home to marry Prince Malthorn as originally planned." The crowd murmured uneasily. Even without understanding the alien language, they could sense that the stakes had just gotten significantly higher. "What kind of tests?" Danny asked, stepping forward with admirable courage or spectacular stupidity. Valara couldn't decide which. Commander Thane smiled coldly. "3 trials, as decreed by ancient law. First, the trial of honesty. You must bare your soul completely, hiding nothing from the princess or our tribunal. Second, the trial of connection. You must prove your emotional bond transcends physical form through telepathic linkage. Third, the trial of joy. You must demonstrate that your union brings true happiness through the sacred ritual of harmonized movement." "Harmonized movement?" Valara frowned. "Dancing," Thane clarified with visible distaste. "The ancient texts specify that true love must be expressed through synchronized physical motion. It's quite barbaric, but tradition is tradition." "Dancing," Danny perked up. "I can do dancing. I mean, I'm not great at it, but I watch a lot of those competition shows. You don't understand," Valara said urgently. "Zephyrian trials aren't just tests, they're designed to be nearly impossible. The telepathic connection alone requires perfect mental synchronization. Most royal couples train for years before attempting it. Then we'll learn as we go," Danny said with infuriating confidence. "How hard can it be?" Commander Thane's expression suggested he was already planning Danny's memorial service. "Very well," the commander announced. "The trials will commence at sunset. Princess, you have until then to prepare your champion. Guards, establish a perimeter. No humans are to interfere with the proceedings." As the Zephyrian forces organized their positions, creating a bizarre alien staging area in the middle of suburban New Jersey, Danny turned to Valara with characteristic optimism. "So, we've got maybe 6 hours to figure out telepathy and dance choreography. Want to grab some lunch first? I know this place that makes incredible meatball subs." Looking at him, this wonderfully impossible human, who thought intergalactic trials were just another challenge to tackle after a good meal, Valara felt her heart do that skip beat thing again. Maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. Dancing with the stars literally as the sun set over New Jersey. What had started as a quiet Tuesday evening had transformed into the most watched event in human history. News crews from every major network surrounded the makeshift arena, while millions more watched live streams from their phones. The president was reportedly in the Situation Room, and the UN had called an emergency session. In the center of it all, Danny stood facing 3 Zephyrian judges who looked like they'd rather be executing him than evaluating his worthiness to marry their princess. "The trial of honesty begins," Commander Thane announced, activating a device that projected a shimmering field around Danny. "Speak falsely, and the truth field will cause you considerable pain. Tell us, human, why do you claim to love our princess?" Danny took a deep breath, very aware that his next words would determine the fate of an entire planet. "Because she makes me want to be better than I am. Because she laughs at my jokes even when they're terrible. Because she tries to negotiate with vending machines and gets genuinely upset when they don't respond to logical arguments." The truth field glowed softly blue, indicating honesty. "Because," Danny continued, his voice growing stronger, "in 3 weeks, she's shown me what it means to see the world through someone else's eyes. She's brave enough to give up everything she's ever known for a chance at real happiness. And because when I'm with her, I feel like I could take on the whole galaxy. The field flared brilliant gold, and even the stern Zephyrian judges looked slightly impressed. Trial 1, passed, Thane grudgingly announced. Trial 2, the connection of minds. Two guards brought forward what looked like a crystal headband. Connected to an elaborate machine, Valara appeared at Danny's side, wearing a similar device. "This is the hard part," she whispered. "I need to open my mind completely to you and you to me. You'll see everything, my memories, my fears, my thoughts. And I'll see yours, all of them," Danny asked nervously. "All of them, including that recurring dream about being chased by giant pizza slices. How did you never mind? Let's do this." The moment the device is activated, Danny's mind exploded with sensation. He saw Valara's childhood in crystal palaces among the stars, felt her loneliness among courtiers who feared her, experienced her joy at discovering Earth's chaotic, beautiful culture. He saw her terror at the thought of an arranged marriage to a prince who collected rare minerals and had never told a joke in his life. And Valara saw Danny's memories in return growing up in a small apartment with his grandmother, learning to cook by watching Food Network, his dreams of maybe opening his own restaurant someday. She felt his kindness toward every customer, his genuine concern for his neighbors, his bewilderment at finding himself in love with an alien princess. When the connection ended, both of them were crying. Trial 2, passed, Thane announced, sounding surprised. The neural synchronization was unprecedented. Trial 3, the sacred dance. A platform rose from the ground, surrounded by floating lights that began pulsing with an otherworldly rhythm. Music filled the air, not quite Earth music, not quite alien, but something that seemed to bridge both worlds. "I should mention," Valara said as they took positions, "traditional Zephyrian ceremonial dancing involves complex aerial maneuvers and energy manipulation." "Of course it does," Danny muttered. "Any other surprises?" "The dance must tell the story of our love from first meeting to eternal commitment. Oh, and if we fall out of sync, the platform will collapse and drop us into a pit of shame." "There's actually a pit of shame. It's more of a shame-adjacent depression. But yes." The music swelled, and they began to move. It started simply Danny's clumsy Earth-style dancing somehow meshing with Valara's graceful alien movements. But as the song progressed, something magical happened. The platform began to lift, carrying them higher into the night sky as energy swirled around them. Danny found himself moving with impossible grace, while Valara incorporated the goofy, joyful elements of human dancing. They spun and leaped and somehow managed to stay airborne, their movements telling the story of a crash landing, an accidental meeting, and a love that had grown against all odds. The crowd below gasped as the couple danced among the stars themselves, their joy so infectious that even the Zephyrian guards began tapping their feet. When the music ended, they landed softly on the platform, breathless and glowing with happiness. Trial 3, passed, Commander Thane announced, and for the first time, he was smiling. "Princess Valara, the High Council recognizes your union. You may choose your own path." As fireworks exploded overhead, someone had apparently called in favors with the local fire department. Danny and Valara kissed while the whole world watched. "So," Danny said later, as they sat on the roof of Cosmic Slice, watching Zephyrian ships disappear into the night sky, "what happens now?" "Now," Valara said, snuggling closer, "we figure out how to run a pizza delivery service that serves 47 star systems. I hope you're ready for some very interesting customer service calls." Danny grinned. "Bring it on, princess, bring it on." 6 months later, Cosmic Slice became the first Earth business to achieve truly universal delivery. Their slogan, "We deliver anywhere in the galaxy, or your money back." They never had to issue a single refund.